In December of 2019, a huge bounty for Super Mario 64's 120-star category was announced, totaling in $10,000 split between 5 runners. The bounty started on December 15th and included $5,000 alone to the first person to get the second ever 138 in 120-star. Cheese's current world record of 138.51 is in a bit of a weird state, where 35 seconds of the video was missing due to some capture card errors, and the run included frame walking, a trick in Jolly Roger Bay that ended up being disallowed for runs. Simply has 2 videos on the topic going into great detail about frame walking. Please check them out. The other $5,000 comes from whoever is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place once the bounty ends. The bounty officially ends when someone gets 138, but the money was spread out pretty well, with 2nd place getting $2,000 once the bounty ends and 3rd through 5th getting $1,000 each. There is currently a separate bounty leaderboard to indicate who is in the lead. However, there is a small catch, and that is that PBs before the 15th of December do not count towards this separate board, as the bounty officially had a starting date on the 15th. Over a month has passed since the bounty was announced, and no one has claimed it. Multiple runners have gotten so close but fell short. Today, I'm going to be going over the runners that could end up running away with the money, their strengths and weaknesses, and a little backstory on their history in Super Mario 64. First on the list is the man himself, Cheese. Cheese has been playing a solid amount for the bounty, but has expressed issues with consistency as of recent, despite being one of the people with the most experience in the category, where he took the record for the first time in 2015. The consistency issues has led him down a rough path with the red coin star in Shifting Sandland, which is considered by many to be the hardest star in the game. His early game has been looking quite nice, but it's very difficult to get a run to the upstairs portion. Despite all of that, he has managed to finish a bunch of 139s, including a 139.15, which is his current bounty PB. I feel like all it could take for Cheese is to wake up one day where he's just playing really good and consistent, and the bounty is his. He's done it once, so why won't he be able to do it again? Next up is Punkation. Punke for the longest time has been considered one of the most consistent players in the history of the game. His experience and persistence has led him to winning the majority of races against other players in SM64 when those occur. His experience also dates back to 2012, so out of all the people going for the bounty, he has played for the longest. However, the long experience can also be detrimental as it can lead to burnout, and really it's been showing with this bounty. Punke has been playing the least out of all the competitors, focusing more on classic World of Warcraft. Despite his lack of play, he did actually come back and briefly get a 1-second PB with 139.05, which is actually the closest finished run to 138 in this whole bounty.
Oh my god. World of Warcraft player gets the most casual 130.
So even with his absence, he's actually in the lead, which is kind of unusual. He would, however, need a spur of motivation to come back for this 138, and he could just randomly get it, just like he did with his 1-second PB. I think it would be really sick to see Punke back on top. Next is a personal favorite in this mix, Simply. A lot of people tend to forget Simply was in the top 3 in 120-star all the way back in 2015. Back then, I didn't think much of him at the time, except that he had some potential, but needed to step it up to close the gap on the record. In the following years, he's unfortunately suffered from severe hand injury, which he has talked about in a few videos on his YouTube. After a miraculous comeback in 2019, where he says his hands feel better than ever, he's very motivated to be playing some Mario in 2020. The bounty was actually announced on December 9th, but officially started on the 15th, just to give some players some time to derust and whatnot. But in those 6 days where everyone was busy derusting, Simply was on pace on December 12th.
I think this might be a gold. That's a gold. Nice. Get in there. A gold could still be a second or two faster, for sure.
Here we go!
Weak. Weak TTC. Very weak. Yes, I would like the star. Thank you. Ah, sad. Really shaky ending. It's a miss though. So Liam King's bop puts us in third place. Didn't get Punke, unfortunately. Still PB though. Still PB.
I can't help but feel some mixed emotions to this run. I guess we'll start with the bad news first. First off, this run unfortunately didn't count towards the bounty since the time was set before the 15th. His second best run was a 1:39.31 achieved on December 29th. It's 12 seconds slower, not a lot, but it could be the difference in being in and out of the money. Secondly, he was a minute ahead after Wing Mario over the Rainbow, which was pretty deep 1:38 pace. With some sloppy mistakes in Rainbow Ride and a missed Bowser throw, he's still PB'd by a lot with 1:39.19. But this could have easily been the record. I still admire Simply's composure during this run. He seemed very relaxed in the last few stages, something he said he's been working on a lot. Simply has been seeing a lot of success with his Twitch lately, switching to full-time streaming. With more time up his sleeve, it's possible he could close out the bounty. Next up is easily the most determined runner of the whole bunch, Liam. Liam has been streaming 120-star attempts pretty much daily for the entire bounty. It was very common for me to wake up, watch some Liam, do some stuff around the house, maybe even go outside, and I'd come back and Liam would still be streaming. His sessions are full-time work kind of lengths. It's so crazy I had to do some math. So I took the hours of the VODs of the past 3 weeks, put them together, and I got 184 hours and 33 minutes. That culminates to about 8.7 hours played daily for 3 weeks. And he played since the start of the bounty. It's just harder to do the math since Twitch has this 1 month limit thing. Safe to say, Liam has been playing a ton. And his runs have been looking promising, but has not managed to beat his old 1:39.30 from 5 months ago. It feels like every time I watch, he's on solid pace, but never in clear 1:38 range, despite having the lowest sum of best out of all the top runners. I was actually pretty confident Liam was going to be the one to get this bounty with the amount of hours he's been pouring into streaming, but honestly I'm shocked he's not even cashed in a PB. Hopefully he'll catch a break soon, because I feel like this grind is taking a big toll on him with his rather negative monologues after each hard hit of a lost run. Best of luck to Liam. Another runner easily capable of getting the 138 is Tago. A little backstory on this Swedish runner. Tago has been a solid 120-star runner for quite some years now, but never really made a big push for the top. His skill was still very noticeable and transferred over to 70-star, where he managed to hold the world record for a while, set on February 1st, 2019.
I think I did it! Oh my god. I did it.
However, his 120-star PB going into the bounty was a 141.24 from 2017. So it seemed as if he was going to take quite a while to catch up, and maybe he was even too far behind to get close. But once 2020 started, he really went in.
Yes.
So long, Bowser.
Let's go, dude.
He lowered his PB several times in such a short time span to 139.38 and has continued to stream attempts for 138. He's got quite the momentum train going, and he went from a non-contender to maybe the new favorite in my eyes only within the span of a week and a half. I think many newcomers may view Tago to be sort of coming out of nowhere, but I think in many top runners' eyes, they were aware of his skill, but only now he's really been able to show how great he really is. I'm excited to see if Tago keeps this train going. DWhatever is next on this list. As of making this video, he is the current world record holder for 70 star, and has always shown to be a promising player in most of the game's categories for a few years now. While still very respectable, he currently has the worst PB out of the top contenders in 120 star with 141.03, but that could easily change. I would still not say he's the least likely person to get the bounty, however, cause he could quite literally go down the same route as Tago, where he rapidly catches up to the rest of the people sitting with the 139s. He's quite a consistent runner and has great composure, so I really hope to see him get to the top in this category as well. Okay, I'm in editing right now, and DWhatever literally just got a 140.27 like 2 minutes ago. These runners just can't stop PBing, but in any case, congrats to DWhatever. And last but not least is the wild card, Parakusha. I've gotten to know Parakusha quite well lately by being in Discord with him, so it's quite a ride to see him play SM64. Out of all the top runners, the strategies he uses are the fastest, so he has the highest potential for the lowest time, but he's also the least consistent. Choosing to go for every minor optimization can lower your chances at completing runs and can even increase risk of mistakes. It's the route Parakusha has chosen to go with, and he achieved 140.08 in July of 2019. And he improved with a small PB after the bounty started with 140.06. But I think the run you should actually take a look at is this one.
Here we go! Here we go! Here we go!
Oh my god. Well, it's a bounty PB.
As you can see, Para clearly has the potential for 138 as well. The run was over a minute ahead going into Tippy, but the run crumbled to some of the game's hardest stages. Even though Para doesn't have 139 yet, he could no joke just skip straight to 138, and I hope we get to see that. So, those are all the runners I have for you today, but it's possible we could have someone new who would creep up on the rankings and just snipe the 138. Watching Super Mario 64 has been a blast recently. Despite no 138s, it's still cool to see a multi-man battle for a very prestigious record. In speedrunning, it's very common to have a two-way battle and sometimes three, but this time we literally have 7 people. I think the reason the bounty hasn't been met yet is obviously because it's extremely hard, but I think it'll happen eventually, and I highly recommend watching all the streamers I mentioned today. Drop them a follow. And lastly, the fine people over at ESA have invited all of the top 120-star runners to a weekend event where they all get to play for the 120-star record live. It starts on the 31st of January, and if you want to know all the information, I recommend checking out the trailer that ESA put out on their channel. Link will also be in the description. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, hit the bell. There is more speedrun coverage and history coming to this channel very soon. Take care. Peace, y'all.